Good evening. You're watching the news at 6 with me, Shan Russell. The news at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories. And one of the stories that we saw develop today was the deluge in Mumbai. The monsoons are finally here, but they bring along with it the woes of metro cities. And we'll be focusing on metro cities. We'll be giving you a story about how Mumbai is prepared. And what about Delhi? Is Delhi prepared? We'll be asking that to a special guest as well. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. On a day when Amit Shah meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the BJP rallies behind Vasundhara Rajya, says there's no question of her resignation. Preliminary inquiry against former Union Minister Veerbhadra Singh and his family members. CBI to inquire into unexplained income of 6.1 crore rupees. Torrential rains cripple Mumbai. Suburban trains come to a halt. Government wants residents to stay indoors in the face of high tide. And panic sets in among Greek citizens. Over 2 billion euros withdrawn from banks as government fails to reach bailout agreement. Well, our top story this evening, Mumbai today came to a standstill as heavy rain battered most parts of the city. Now, normal life was paralyzed as incessant rains disrupted both road and rail transport, causing inconvenience to thousands of commuters. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis took stock of the situation and appealed to Mumbaikars not to come out of their homes unless necessary.
Mumbai completely thrown out of gear as torrential rains battered its suburbs. Non-stop rain since Thursday night resulted in massive waterlogging on roads and railway tracks. Suburban train services were cancelled, leaving thousands of commuters stranded.
5 घंटा हो गया रुका है, हमको जाना है अंधेरी, कब पहुंचेंगे क्या मालूम नहीं।
अभी तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते, लेकिन बारिश की राह देख रहे हैं कब खुलेगा। ऑफिस में भी जाके देखना है, कार्ड पंचिंग हो गया, ड्यूटी पे कैसे जाने का।
Situations being reviewed constantly by the railway administration at Mumbai area. We are informing people through constant announcement at railway stations, the regular announcements uninterrupted. We are using social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook to inform people about the situation of the train movements.
The heavy downpour affected flight operations as well. Several outgoing flights were delayed while the incoming ones were diverted.
काफ़ी फ्लाइट्स लेट है, मुझे उसका डिटेल तो नहीं है, लेकिन काफ़ी फ्लाइट्स ले पैसेंजर्स काफ़ी परेशान हैं। यहाँ पर जो आए हुए हैं लेने वाले काफ़ी सब परेशान हैं।
Waterlogging was seen in almost all low-lying areas of Mumbai and its suburbs, including Kurla, Chembur, Tilaknagar, Andheri, Parel, Lower Parel, Thane, Navi Mumbai and Dombivali. Already crippled by rain, the maximum city was also hit by a high tide Friday afternoon. Fearing a flood-like situation, the Navy was put on standby. The BMC issued an advisory asking people not to venture out unnecessarily.
ऐसे समय थोड़ा सा लोगों ने ध्यान देना चाहिए रास्तों के ऊपर भी, क्योंकि मुंबई की एक टिपिकल ये है कि जब हाई टाइड आता है तो वाटर लॉगिंग उतना फास्ट किसी भी तरीके से बाहर नहीं निकाला जा सकता, उसकी ओर ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है.
The rain-related problems are expected to continue for Mumbaikars for a few more days, as the Met Department has predicted heavy to very heavy monsoon showers over the weekend. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
And as the monsoon heads north, we've decided to do a bit of an analysis of how other cities, especially metros, because metros often get clogs when rains come in, and it's often up to civic authorities to best prepare these metropolitans. So how well is Delhi prepared? We'll be posing that question to Praveen Shankar Kapoor, media in charge of the Delhi BJP. Tell us, Praveen, as far as being prepared for the monsoon is concerned, is there enough being done? And we've called the BJP specifically right now because after all, the BJP controls the MCD.
See, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Delhi has experienced very devastating circumstances in past too, in last 8 years also, earlier too, and we have very well handled the situations every time. But here, I would like to put a point straight, that unlike in BMC, it is not MCD alone which handles the responsibility. There is a factor of Jal Board, because in Delhi, the major sewer lines are handled by Jal Board. and the drains are handled by MCD. So we have to understand this point. This is no politics. We have to understand one point, that Jal Board and MCD have to work in tandem, and then only the situation can be controlled, which has been done very well in the past, irrespective of which party is ruling where. The things have been handled very well, and we expect that this monsoon also, MCD has already made its arrangements for the monsoon control room. I don't know whether you are aware or not, MCD sets up a control room for every monsoon, and this time too the control room will start functioning from 1st of July, and normally we set it up for up to mid-September. For 3 months almost, we set up a control room where people are designated in every zonal office and in the headquarters to control the situation.
All right, so you think the MCD is prepared, but often with the various authorities, as you just pointed out, about the fact that the sewer lines are controlled by the Delhi Jal Board and the MCD only controls the drains. So in that sense, there's also the Delhi government involved, and we've seen a lot of politics over the turf wars between the Delhi government, the MCD, basically the Aam Aadmi Party, the BJP and the Congress. So in that sense, do you expect or do you see this kind of a turf war erupting over here, or is everything in place that we should not expect politics to come at least into this one?
See, from BJP side, from the MCD side, nothing like that would happen, I can assure you. We will be working as before in last 8 years, and we will ensure best of clearance of the water that comes on road.
All right, Praveen Shankar Kapoor, thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand how well Delhi is prepared for the monsoons. Thanks so much for that. Moving on now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met the President of Tanzania, Jakaya Kikwete, at Hyderabad House in Delhi on Friday. These two leaders and their delegations held bilateral talks during which agriculture, manufacturing, oil and gas, mining, transportation and ICT were top areas of focus. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has extended India's cooperation to Tanzania in various sectors, including counter-terrorism, natural gas and maritime security. Kikwete is in India on an official state visit, his second in the 10 years of his leadership. Now, the CBI has initiated an inquiry against Congress leader and Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh and his relatives in a disproportionate assets case. The case, worth 6.1 crore rupees, pertains to the time he served as Union Minister of Steel in the UPA government between 2009 and 2011. The CBI is probing multiple allegations against Singh, including graft, money laundering and forgery. Singh is also accused of granting favours in return for unsecured loans obtained by his family from some private companies. Cases have also been filed against his wife and children. The Chief Minister had to resign from the Union Cabinet in June of 2012 over allegations of corruption. Singh, however, says he's done nothing wrong and is ready for any kind of inquiry.
सिर्फ एक बात हुआ है, जिनके ऊपर जो है कांग्रेस चार्जशीट के अनुसार अनुरूप इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने के बाद हिमाचल की अदालतों में मुकदमे चल रहे हैं। उसी का बदला लेने के लिए आज वो केंद्र सरकार के ऊपर प्रेशर डाल रहे हैं कि मेरे खिलाफ भी कार्रवाई की जाए। किसी भी प्रकार की जांच के लिए, इंक्वायरी के लिए मैं तैयार हूँ।
And the big political story for today is, of course, the stonewalling the opposition's demand for the resignation of External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Rajya. The BJP today went into damage control mode on the case involving former IPL chief Lalit Modi. BJP Chief Amit Shah met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi for what was reported as a detailed discussion on the matter.
After 2 days of silence, the BJP rallied behind Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Rajya on Friday. Claiming that the opposition had no case against her, it ruled out her resignation.
वसुंधरा जी के संदर्भ में जो प्रश्न आप लोगों ने उठाए वो प्रश्न ही काल्पनिक थे। वह मीडिया के एक वर्ग की कल्पना से उपजे हुए थे जिसमें कि कोई तथ्य है ही नहीं कि वसुंधरा जी का क्या होगा, वो रहेंगी नहीं रहेंगी। इस प्रकार के काल्पनिक प्रश्नों के कारण आप लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि पार्टी ने प्रतिक्रिया नहीं की। उन्होंने अपना मत स्पष्ट कर दिया था, पार्टी ने भी अपना मत स्पष्ट कर दिया।
Earlier in the day, unclear about her fate, Vasundhara Raje skipped a function in Anandpur Sahib in Punjab where she would have met BJP President Amit Shah and Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh. She was scheduled to attend the function to commemorate 350 years of the Sikh shrine. The BJP's backing for Raje came amid support for her from her state unit.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने 2013 का चुनाव आदरणीय वसुंधरा जी के नेतृत्व में चुनाव लड़ा और उन्हीं के नेतृत्व में 163 जीत करके आई हैं। पूरी राजस्थान की जनता विश्वास करती है, हम सारे विधायक उनकी कार्यशैली में, उनकी भावनाओं में विश्वास करते हैं और हम उन्हीं के साथ खड़े हुए हैं, उन्हीं के नेतृत्व में हम काम करेंगे। आरोप निराधार आरोप हैं,
ये एकदम आरोप झूठे आरोप है और जैसा कि हमारी मुख्यमंत्री जी ने स्पष्ट कह भी दिया कि ये जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स है वो फर्जी डॉक्यूमेंट्स है और उसके ऊपर कोई हस्ताक्षर भी नहीं है।
The Congress, on the other hand, kept up its attack on the government. The party wondered why the government was not making any efforts to bring former IPL boss Lalit Modi back to India.
तो ये बिल्कुल आर्म ट्विस्टिंग टैक्टिस है भारतीय जनता पार्टी की, लेकिन वो चाहे लाख कोशिश करें, वो 100 कांग्रेसी लोगों को मुलव्वस करने के लिए उन पर इल्ज़ाम लगाएं। इस वक्त देश का ध्यान भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ है, प्राइम मिनिस्टर की तरफ है और जो लोग इस वक्त इन्वॉल्व हैं उनकी तरफ है। ये दो लोगों का ध्यान इस वक्त बांट नहीं सकते हैं।
Now on a day when the whole world expected that he will speak out for upholding the legal and constitutional principles in this country, as the Prime Minister of the country, he needs to respond to an open violation of the constitutional principle. And there are no two differences between the two cases.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj kept her official engagements. She called on visiting Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete. Swaraj is the only BJP leader who is in the opposition crosshairs for reportedly helping former IPL chief Lalit Modi get travel documents from Britain to travel to Portugal.
कांग्रेस पार्टी न तो आज जमीन की सच्चाई को देखना पसंद कर रही है और डिफरेशन की डिफीट और उसकी डुगडुगी के सहारे वो अपने राजनीतिक जमीन को तलाश रही है.
Friday saw hectic consultations in the BJP with party chief Amit Shah discussing damage control measures with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Shah is also reported to be in touch with the RSS leadership on the issue. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the Supreme Court has extended time for conducting the All India Pre-Medical Test 2015. The court gave the order while hearing a plea by CBSE that it is responsible for holding the exam. The Apex Court has directed the board to conduct the exam and declare the results by the 17th of August. The Supreme Court had scrapped the AIPMT examination held on the 5th May on the ground of large-scale irregularities and ordered the CBSE to conduct fresh exams within 4 weeks. The CBSE, however, pleaded for more time for conducting the exam. Over 6 lakh students took the test for over 3,800 medical seats this year. The test was cancelled after answers to 123 questions were transmitted via mobile phones in Bihar, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Haryana and several other states.
An extension overall with the declaration of result till 16th of August. So which includes holding of exam, which includes declaration. So as CBSE wanted 4 months, that's been disallowed by the court, as Honorable Court made an observation that we are aware of the new academic session which has to commence in right time.
And for all the other national news and updates, let's take you nationwide. The death toll in the Hooch tragedy in Malad's Malwani area rose to 33 on Friday. 20 people died overnight, while 9 others are critical. Investigators are yet to find out the total number of those who consumed the spurious alcohol sold in one of the shanties in a slum in the Lakshmi Nagar area. Reports said the alleged mastermind, a woman called Akka, who supplied the beverage to the shanty, is on the run. Her accomplice, Raju Langra, is being questioned by the police. Sahara Chief Subrata Roy was sent back to jail after he failed to get a bank guarantee of 5,000 crore rupees. The Sahara Group told the court that one of the financial institutions backed out at the last minute. However, the Supreme Court reiterated that Roy will have to furnish 5,000 crore rupees in cash and a bank guarantee of an equal amount to secure his release. At least 13 people were killed and 10 injured when a fire broke out in Hotel Babaganj area of Pratapgarh in UP. Among those killed are 2 doctors and a journalist. The incident took place early on Friday morning. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained, although prima facie it appeared to be a case of short circuit. The Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi today forwarded a complaint of corruption against ACB Chief M.K. Meena to the Vigilance Department. The complaint was filed against a retired police inspector, Jawahar Lal, who has accused the newly appointed ACB Chief of embezzling 20 lakh rupees. The Jammu and Kashmir police imposed restrictions in parts of Srinagar and North Kashmir to prevent separatist plans to visit Sopore. The separatist leaders had called for a protest march in Sopore against the killing of civilians by unidentified militants in Sopore last week. Restrictions were imposed in downtown Srinagar as a precautionary measure to maintain law and order. Time for a quick break right now. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Politics of cricket. Politics in cricket. Exposed by the Lalit Modi saga. How do we check the nexus? Watch the big picture at 6:30 only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, a day after the Charleston church shooting, US President Barack Obama has said that such violence does not happen elsewhere in the world, and it's high time that America came to grips with that fact. The suspect of the shooting has been arrested and he's due to make his first court appearance. Police officials were quick to call it a hate crime.
21-year-old Dylan Roof was arrested after a 14-hour intense manhunt in connection with a horrific attack at a historic African-American church in South Carolina. Police officials claim Dylan shot 9 people inside the church simply because they were African-Americans, an apparent act of hate crime. Roof is in a detention center after he waived his extradition rights.
If you think about what he wanted to do, there only had to have been hate in his heart. I have come to that realization. There's no other way around it. There had to have been real hate in his heart. But he was hoping to divide this state and this country. And what he doesn't understand is by what he did yesterday, all he's going to do is bring us a lot closer together.
Other leaders too called for unity. Obama called it a senseless murder and an issue of grave concern, saying such quantum of gun violence does not occur anywhere else in the world. His former colleague and now a presidential candidate Hillary Clinton said the US needs to face hard truths about racism and guns.
This is not the first time that black churches have been attacked. And we know that hatred across races and faiths pose a particular threat to our democracy and our ideals.
In order to make sense of it, we have to be honest. We have to face hard truths about race, violence, guns, and division.
Mourners gathered at the Charleston church to hold prayers and vigils. Post the horrific shooting, a sense of unity seems to have gripped the people. Churches in Charleston were filled to overflowing when evening prayer services were held. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Greece is facing a full-blown banking crisis after Eurozone finance ministers failed to agree on steps to prevent the country from slipping further into a debt crisis. The European Central Bank's Governing Council held an emergency session for an increase in emergency liquidity to Greek banks. Meanwhile, an emergency summit of European leaders has been called next Monday as a final attempt to resolve the crisis.
In Greece, the protests are giving way to panic. Many people are withdrawing savings. Nearly 2 billion euros were taken out of Greek banks this week. The withdrawal started after European officials and the International Monetary Fund on Thursday failed to strike a deal on Greece's bailout program. The nation is dangerously close to a default and a possible exit from the Eurozone. No one is buying assurances from the Greek central bank chief that the banking system was stable.
Πολύ πιθανό. Υπάρχουν τεράστιες διαρροές από τις ελληνικές τράπεζες. Πολύ πιθανό να γίνει αυτό, όλοι το αποφεύγουμε. Βέβαια, αν γίνει αυτό, το επόμενο βήμα είναι το χάος και η καταστροφή.
After the talks collapsed within an hour of discussions, the European Union called an emergency summit of leaders for Monday in a final push to prevent Greece from going bankrupt. European leaders say the onus is on Greece to enforce tough reforms.
What we need is credible measures which fill in the fiscal gaps which are still in the talks, and credible measures to bring the economy back on track. And the big question is whether the Greek government is prepared to take them, because they are inevitable, they are necessary for Greece. And if they're not prepared to do that, then they are taking a big risk on the future of Greece.
Dialogue, discussion, confrontation s'il le faut, mais avancer dans ce dialogue. Et c'est possible. Les différences ne sont pas aussi grandes qu'on voudrait le dire.
Greece needs to urgently strike a deal or face default on a €1.6 billion loan repayment to the International Monetary Fund. It risks having to leave the Eurozone and possibly also the EU. But the European Commission, the IMF and the ECB are unwilling to unlock bailout funds until Greece agrees to reforms. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has urged people not to panic after the country reported its first MERS case. The Thai PM said the country was well prepared to tackle the situation hours after a 75-year-old businessman from Oman tested positive for the virus. Relatives of the businessman have also shown symptoms of the flu and are being tested even as they remain in quarantine. Meanwhile, South Korea said that the outbreak of MERS in the country appears to have leveled off as just one new patient was reported. A total of 166 people have been infected while 24 have died in the South Korean outbreak.
확진자는 현재 총 166명입니다. 치료 중인 환자는 112명이고 퇴원 30명, 사망 24명입니다. 전일 대비해서 신규 확진자는 1명이 늘었고 퇴원자는 6명, 사망자는 1명이 추가가 됐습니다.
As the world grapples with a growing humanitarian crisis as far as migrants are concerned, a UN report released on Thursday puts forth some very disturbing figures. The world body says that 1 in every 122 people in the world is now either a refugee or displaced in his own country or is seeking asylum abroad.
Living on a hope and prayer. As these Muslims observed the first day of Ramzan, they are praying to survive in a foreign land in often hostile conditions, living at the mercy of the country they have sought asylum in. On the rocky shoreline of the Mediterranean that these people have called home for over a week now, these mostly African migrants are hoping against hope to cross the French border, the next step on a journey to Northern Europe. They have been unsuccessful so far. Not far away in the seas around Southeast Asia are thousands of migrants from Myanmar and Bangladesh and some from Sri Lanka looking for a safe haven. A report says at any given point in time there are at least 1,000 migrants who are stranded at sea here, running away from atrocities they face at home and abandoned by those who promised them a better life. A UN report presents a terrifying picture of the migrant crisis. It says that nearly 60 million people across the world were forcibly displaced at the end of 2014. This is the highest number ever recorded of people forced to leave their homes. To put the figure into perspective, 1 in every 122 people in the world are now refugees or internally displaced or seeking asylum elsewhere.
We don't have the capacity and essentially we don't have the resources to support all the victims of conflict around the world and to provide them with the very minimum level of protection and assistance. We are no longer able to pick up the pieces.
More than half these refugees are children, all victims of conflicts in their countries. Last year, almost 14 million people were added to the swelling number of refugees. There are over 38 million people who are displaced inside their own countries.
So this is the moment for the international community to renew its commitment to the 50th UN Convention. this is the moment, first of all, for those countries that have leverage, that have influence on the parties to the different conflicts we are facing, because they support them with money or with weapons, or because they have influence in the region, to come together and to put an end to this multiplication of conflicts we are witnessing.
Sometimes fleeing war, sometimes in the hope of a better future, sometimes just escaping being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The conflicts that affect them are often not theirs. Mostly they are thrust upon them. What these refugees need is a more compassionate outlook from the world at large. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now some more news from around the world in Global Buzz. The Malaysian Navy and maritime officials on Friday announced that the hijacked oil tanker Orkim Harmony has been released by pirates. The ship, hijacked on the 11th of June off the Malaysian coast, is being escorted by the Navy to Malaysia's Kuantan port. The hijacking is the second seizure of a tanker by pirates in Southeast Asia in this month, raising concerns over increasing piracy in the region. The centre-right opposition, led by former Prime Minister Lars Rasmussen, emerged victorious in Denmark's elections, amassing 90 out of the 90 seats to the 85 of the Red Bloc, led by Prime Minister Thorning-Schmidt. The Danish Prime Minister has conceded defeat, putting an end to her 4-year tenure as the head of the left-leaning government. Of the 179 seats in the Danish Parliament, 175 members are elected in Denmark, with the remaining 4 coming in from Greenland and the Faroe Islands. A 4th U.S. citizen, Samuel Rahmin Topaz from New Jersey, has been arrested in the greater New York area on allegations of supporting the Islamic State. He was charged with conspiracy to provide material support to the group. He was remanded without bail after being arrested at home and faces 15 years in prison if convicted. Britain's longest-serving Indian-origin MP, Keith Vaz, was re-elected as chairman of Parliament's Home Affairs Select Committee in the UK for the 3rd time. In elections held on Thursday for one of the most powerful select committees in the Commons, Vaz won by 412 to 192 votes. Time now for all the sporting action and sports beat. India's one-day captain MS Dhoni and debutant Bangladesh fast bowler Rahman have been fined for their collision during the first ODI match in Mirpur on Thursday. Dhoni has been docked 75% of his match fee, while Rahman lost 50% of his. The incident occurred in the 25th over of India's innings when Dhoni set off on a single and collided with Rahman, appearing to shove him out of the way with his forearm. Leander Paes and his partner Daniel Nestor disposed of the challenge of Marc Lopez and Rafael Nadal in straight sets to progress to the semi-finals of the ATP Asian Championships. The third seed in the Canadian pair got the better of the unseeded Spanish pair 7-6, 6-4 in the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, John Isner beat Feliciano Lopez in a big serving match at the Queen's Club to reach the quarterfinals. The American defeated the 8th seed Spaniard 7-6, 6-7, 7-6 and will next play Viktor Troicki. Serbia's Troicki knocked out 4th seed Marian Cilic of Croatia 6-7, 6-2, 6-3. 2 Argentine businessmen wanted by U.S. prosecutors as part of the FIFA bribery investigation turned themselves into authorities in Buenos Aires. Hugo Jinquis and his son were among 14 current and former FIFA officials and corporate executives indicted in the U.S. last month on charges of racketeering and corruption that rocked the soccer world. Well, we'll call it a wrap in the news at 6, but as we go, take a look at the Yoga Day preparations from across the country. The first International Yoga Day will be celebrated tomorrow, that's Sunday.